The worldwide prison population has exceeded 10 million persons and continues to grow. Despite this number, prisoners are rarely part of the public discourse. After all, they are physically separated from society and seem to disappear behind walls, gates, and locked doors. What happens behind these walls? What is done to not only ensure secure and safe custody, but also humane treatment behind bars? Given that the vast majority of prisoners eventually return to society, these questions are of paramount importance for any efforts to effectively protect society from crime. The United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, UNODC, assists countries around the world in reforming the prison systems in line with international minimum standards for the treatment of prisoners. Very often, the initial situation on the ground looks dire.
A large number of prison systems around the world are in a state of crisis. Crisis means severe prison overcrowding, poor prison conditions, the spread of infectious diseases, including HIV, large numbers of pre-trial detainees, and high rates of recidivism, all of which come at tremendous economic and social costs.
In response to this crisis, UNODC has developed a comprehensive strategy on addressing the global prison crisis aimed at 3 mutually reinforcing objectives.
The first objective is to reduce the scope of imprisonment by assisting countries in preventing crime, in strengthening access to legal aid, and in increasing access to non-custodial sanctions. The second objective focuses on improving prison conditions, including technical assistance to provide for safe and secure prison settings, as well as to secure the humane treatment of prisoners. Thirdly, UNODC supports the social reintegration of offenders upon release, including post-release support services and initiatives to prepare the community to receive former prisoners. In all areas, care is taken to account for the specific needs of women and children.
The implementation of this strategy builds on prison reform programs already operational in different parts of the world. In the Kyrgyz Republic, the prison system struggles with a number of challenges related to resources, security, and overall conditions of imprisonment. Since 2009, UNODC is partnering with the Kyrgyz Prison Service in order to improve prison conditions, including by supporting income-generating activities for prisoners. From morning to evening, these women operate their sewing machines.
Do not judge, and you will not be judged. No one is protected against such a life. I always wanted to become a seamstress, but I only managed to learn sewing here. You see how life works out.
The sewing workshop is located in a large building that has been renovated. Before there were only 30 sewing machines. Now there are 85. This means the women can now sew more and better at the prison. Prisoners make clothes for the staff of the prison service, other state agencies and private companies. They earn a decent salary, which they can use to support their families and children. Prison staff in prison number 3 have further developed a business plan to replace bakery equipment and boost bread production. This plan has now been turned into reality with the support of UNODC. Employing prisoners apart, there are many other unresolved issues in Kyrgyzstan's prisons. Sanitary conditions in prisons, for example, have become a serious challenge. The project therefore spent significant resources to renovate bath and laundry facilities, water supply, sewage and ventilation systems in 4 prisons, benefiting around 3,000 prisoners.
Prisoners are citizens just like anyone else. They are just deprived of liberty, separated from other people. They are incarcerated to serve their punishment, but they should not be deprived of normal living conditions.
Hargeisa Prison. In spite of a serious lack of resources in Somaliland, UNODC's counter-piracy program opened this 590-bed facility in 2010. In addition to the construction, UNODC has provided for extensive training of Somali prison staff. including through the work of international prison mentors who are based in Hargeisa and who provide continuous advice and on-the-job training for their Somali peers. The program also helps prisoners in learning new skills, such as woodwork, carpentry, welding, and house wiring. Once they have learned the fundamentals, they are engaged to work in building and maintenance projects around the prison facility.
It means they are getting the knowledge.
It means they are getting the knowledge how to do a house wiring, domestic house wiring. Once they have finished this course, they are having enough knowledge to do their own jobs, so that is their future.
The new training unit in Hargeisa prison now also runs a concrete block-making plant which has already received orders for 15,000 bricks, as well as providing many of the inmates with skills they will be able to transfer to the outside world. It is an important revenue stream for the prison service, for which budgets are always tight. Prisoners now also have access to a sports area, which includes a large yard and basketball court, an opportunity for physical exercise which has obviously fallen on fertile grounds. In Panama, UNODC assists the government in the reform of its penitentiary system since 2010, with technical assistance services ranging from legislative assistance, capacity building for prison staff, educational programs for prisoners, as well as anti-corruption measures in prisons.
Con el apoyo financiero y técnico de UNODC se han creado nuevos proyectos.
With the financial and technical support of the UNODC, new productive projects have been developed, such as hydroponics and tailoring in various prisons, as well as 4 computer training rooms. One very innovative activity was the launching of the campaign Donate a Book to the Prison. So far, over 8,000 books have been donated, which has enabled the opening of libraries in different penitentiary centers around the country. Also, the campaign No to Corruption was developed and institutionalized, which has simplified the reporting of corruption cases to the telephone number 311, ensuring a quick response to complaints and allegations. The prison service, working closely with UNODC and the Regional Anti-Corruption Academy, has further drafted and published a code of ethics for prison staff. On the other hand, we have been able to develop information leaflets for prisoners, such as on rights and obligations, commutation of sentences, and eligibility for parole, as well as technical guidance material and handbooks for prison personnel. With the support of the UNODC, the General Office of the Penitentiary System has also improved its website, facilitating the transparency and accountability of prison management.
De cuentas del sistema penitenciario.
Besides the provision of technical assistance, the UN has a long tradition of promoting the humane treatment of prisoners by assisting member states in identifying and adopting international standards related to prison management.
The UN has never closed its eyes to the plight of prisoners and the complex task of prison administration. Proof of this can be seen in the adoption of the standard minimum rules for the treatment of prisoners in 1957. These rules have offered valuable guidance to policymakers, prison managers, and prison staff for almost 6 decades.
As the custodian of these rules, UNODC played a crucial role when in 2011 member states embarked upon the ambitious project of revising the standard minimum rules for the 21st century. After almost 5 years of negotiations, assisted by civil society, a revised set of the rules was agreed upon, which will be known as the Nelson Mandela Rules, a major breakthrough in the normative framework applicable to the treatment of prisoners. Based on its experience and strategic approach to addressing global prison challenges, UNODC stands ready to assist member states in the practical application of the Nelson Mandela Rules.
In our efforts to make societies more resilient to crime and to promote social cohesion and the rule of law, we cannot disregard those in prison. We must remember that prisoners continue to be part of every society and must be treated with respect due to their inherent dignity and as human beings. I invite countries, international organizations, and civil society to join forces and to make these revised rules a reality for prisons everywhere.